Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. How's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, I can't believe you guys are here and not out there enjoying the sun, but obviously we want to make money, right? So I came here to the U.S. when I was 5. And of course, if you guys don't know a little bit the history of Vietnam War, that's what made my family immigrated from Vietnam. We stayed in Thailand in the refugee camps for about 7 months before we actually arrived in Seattle. But I was raised by my grandmother, and she raised my brother and I and my sister basically until I was like 18 years old in the low-income housing in Rainer Vista, if you guys know where that is. So growing up, of course, seeing my grandmother struggle, I basically try to look for every opportunity I can to help out with the bills. So I was throwing newspaper when I was like 13 or 14, and finally got a courtesy clerk job at Safeway down the road, making $5 an hour. And then I put myself through undergrad and graduate school at UW while working at Macy's. And what really got me interested in real estate was the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And also, of course, playing Monopoly. So, if you guys got kids, teach them that now, So I bought my first 2 duplexes in Tacoma. And this is, of course, during the time when basically I bought one of them, I got 100% financing. The other one, I just needed to put 10% down because it was my primary residence. So $175K each. And then, I started flipping around 2004, small flips, cosmetic flips. And then, of course, the recession hit, so I was stuck with probably like 3-4 properties that I had to keep as rentals for a while. And at that time, I was like pretty depressed because I was like, oh my God, the market crashed, and I thought this was it. Like real estate that's the end of real estate, right? And I was really young and didn't really have a mentor or a coach to help me see that, actually you're an investor. So you should actually try to raise capital, stick with it, and it's gonna eventually pick up. But of course, during this whole time I was at my corporate job. So I was doing real estate on the side, but I kept at my IT job for a while, and then I think it was 2012 that I got back into real estate. I started wholesaling again, and then sending out like 20,000 postcards a month to get my deals. And then we started flipping bigger projects. There's this one that we bought that had a fire damage to the back of the house. So you're talking about that's not a $50,000 to $100,000 project. That's a pretty like $150K. And then there's this one that we bought in West Seattle that we took all the way down to foundation and built it all the way back up. And then during that time, we were probably building $1.5 million to $2.5 million single family houses. But then something happened, like I don't know where I heard it from, but it started talking about DADU stuff around 2018 or 19. So I looked into it, and then I was like, okay, let's see if we can make some more money with adding a DADU in the back. But at that time, you could not separate it and all that. So we were just looking into it, and then of course that law passed in Seattle around 2020, and then I'll tell you more about it after we get there. So right now we're currently building about 42 doors, which is about 7 sites. So most of our sites have 3 doors because it's a single family ADU, DADU. And then we have a 6-unit townhouse and a 12-unit live-work townhouse site that we're also building. So I don't know if any, you guys are familiar with what ADUs are. Everybody know what that is, right? Yes, yeah. So it's just a accessory dwelling unit that you put you can put it behind your existing house or in the front of your existing house if you wanted to. And currently it's 1,000 square feet in Seattle and King County. So most of my experience, guys, is in Seattle and King County, okay? So I don't know about Snohomish and Pierce. There's probably some other experts that can talk about that. But, and you can currently, DADUs can only be 2 stories, and then owner-occupied and parking restrictions. So this was what the law was before 2020, right? In some cities like Bellevue, you can only have a attached ADU. You can't even have a detached ADU. So, and then I'm sure there's other cities that has that type of restrictions too. And then in Seattle and in Renton, they have pre-approved DADU plans for you guys to go and get to expedite the permitting process. If you guys, you know, don't care too much about the design, because like Seattle, they have like 9 pre-approved plans, but like 2 of them are like 900 square feet or larger. The rest is like very small, which for me, I like to maximize the DADUs that I built. So, the cool thing that passed in May recently is this law right here about HB 1337. So this is a state law, which means every city is going to have to follow this. So, you know, it's a very big deal. I mean, but it's going to take some time for it to get to each city, because it's up to when they update their comprehensive plan is when you can start implementing. So don't start going out there and buy all your lots in Bellevue and thinking you can do all this, okay? Because you might hold it for a year or 2. But I think next year is when they have to update their comprehensive plan. So and Kirkland is already doing it, and then I think Bellevue's next, and then I don't know, some other cities too. But so if you guys already read that you can now do minimum of 2 DADUs. You don't have to have a parking requirement for the DADU. You can condo it and sell it separately. So I mean, it's basically following what Seattle's been doing the past 3 years, and now you're able to do this in, you know, Redmond, Bothell, so all those other places. And so that's just a little bit more of what this law is. Now you can go up to 24 feet, the ADUs. But then I thought we could do that already, because when we build it attached to the single family, we can go way more than 24 feet. But let's see here. So the other one that don't get as much exposure is this other law, is the 1110, and it's called the allow middle housing. And basically this is even better than the HB 1337, because you can put the duplexes, fourplexes, and if you're in like a quarter mile to a mass transit, you can put 6plexes. So, I mean, maybe hold off on your DADU plans, but so that is another thing. So, I don't know. So, when you guys look for a DADU, right now the minimum lot size is 3,200, but with the HB 1337, the minimum is 2,000, which, you know, that's really tight. You know, I mean, 3,200 is really tight already. I mean, we squeezed in 3 units on 4,000 square feet, but it just makes driving very difficult, you know. So, you know, even though if you can, doesn't mean you should. And it's also, does it appeal to the buyers, right? When you squeeze that much in, unless you're in a really highly desirable neighborhood of like Capitol Hill, or, you know, that's, people understand high density in that area. But if you're talking about Ballard, Crown Hill, Beacon Hill, squeezing that in a 3,200 square feet might be hard to sell, that's all. So also when you're, the other things to look for, to avoid is like ECA, which is environmentally critical area, or steep slope, because it just takes a longer time for permitting, because the city will make you do some other studies and stuff, and also the construction it costs a lot more. And then of course, bigger, the trees, or important things to look for, is you don't want it to be in the middle of if you're looking at your backyard and the tree's like in the middle, then, you know, you're basically, and it's like a significant tree or exceptional tree, you're basically not gonna be able to take that down and build on it. So be very careful. And then of course, the current location of the home, if you're planning on keeping the house and you're trying to just build in a DADU in the back or ADU and DADU. Because if the existing house sits like, in the middle of the lot, you're not going to have a lot of space to build your DADU in the back. So be careful when you're doing that. So use a measuring tape or some way to figure out where that current house is. And I'll show you an example later on. Is one of the best lots to look for is corner lots and lots with alleys, because it allows you to have more lot coverage to build, and that allows you to have more space between the single family and the DADUs. So this project here is what we did in West Seattle. If you looked over here, this was an existing home that we remodeled, rented that out while we went and got permits for the other 4 units. And this was at the very beginning when they allowed that, because if I were to do this again, there would be an ADU right here too. But there's a garage parking, 2-car garage parking, and there's another parking in the middle between the ADU and the DADU, and then this guy has a garage parking here. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential. So that was a double lot that we did, and then this one was, That one was 10,000. This one was 8,000 that we divided into 4,000 each. So it's like 4,000 here and 4,000 here. And then we had a SFR ADU DADU on this side. And we were going to do the same thing on this side, but if you see the electric pole there in the alley, all the way on the top, well, that's the thing I learned was you got to be 14 feet, have a 14 feet setback. So that the city made me push back the DADU that took up the space. So we end up with 5 units there. And then this one is also in West Seattle in Arbor Heights, that we bought a early 1900 Craftsman here that we remodeled into basically a 7-bedroom, 2-bathroom main level and an ADU in the bottom. And then we got the extra lot out there, and then we built a single family, ADU, and a DADU. And then you see this detached garage here? Yep, demo that, and we put up a new 2-story DADU as well. And then we Airbnb basically the Craftsman and the 2 DADUs with Airbnb and also with traveling nurses. And then the cool thing about why we did it that way is, if a family needed more than 7 bedrooms, then you add on this, it can be 11 bedrooms or 9 to 11 bedrooms. So this is just an example of that one that a couple slides ago is this one we built with a basement so that we were able to get more than 1,000 square feet. I would only highly recommend you do that if it's like an area that's a higher price point. It costs more to build with a basement, and being with our crazy weather, rain is not really good for you. But if you plan on keeping it, it's good for you to increase your rent, right? Because you get another 1-bedroom, or if you really want, you can squeeze another one in there to be a 4-bedroom if you really wanted to. But so that one we sold for, I believe, $650 in West Seattle. And then the other side of it is the garage. So this one I was really testing it out. I was just testing out different designs, different styles, see what the feedback was. So this new project that we just bought in Maple Leaf, so this is it's a rare size lot in Seattle, especially when it's zone 5, SF 5000, but we actually got this 8,000 square feet. So the existing house is 1,800 square feet. The top level is 1,000, and the basement is about 800. So Sanford, my architect here. So if you need any architect help, you holler at him. We figured it out so we're gonna remodel this and turn this to the ADU, and then add a single family, a 2,500 square feet single family right next to it, and attach it with a pantry. And then we're going to add a 3-bedroom, 2-bath DADU with a garage right next to it. And the reason why, when you guys are designing your ADUs and DADUs, if you're looking to sell it, you definitely want to, think about what is appealing to the buyers, right? I mean, it's very rare to find a site that you can have your ADU and DADU street facing. I mean, that's just, it's gonna, increase your asking price just because it feels like it's just another single family, right? I mean, usually you're gonna have DADUs in the back of the house and you gotta drive all the way back there if there's no alley. So this, you'll see the pro forma, but so this is gonna make it very desirable. And so all ADU DADU projects, you gotta condo it. And then, but they all get their tax IDs and stuff, just like sort of like a townhouse, but you have HOAs. So you have HOAs, yeah. That's the difference between a townhouse that don't have HOAs and condos that have, you have to have HOAs. So this here is my pro forma for this project. Now, it's not every ADU DADU project is going to have this number, okay? So Tyler would know. So it's one of the, like I said, the site is one of the best sites that I rarely come into. So we bought it for $800, and the remodel of that existing house is going to be about $225, but we'll see if I can keep it down a little bit lower. The SFR at 2,500 square feet at 280 a square foot. You see that it's going to cost. So all the construction costs is going to be about 1.2. And then holding costs, $123,000 at hard money. So the all-in cost is about 2.1. And then projected sales. So the projected sales, as you can see, that DADU at 900 is very rare, but I believe we can get that number just because the way it feels, and each one of them will have their own backyard as well. So it's going to feel like just like another single family. So. With commission and everything, so I think we'll make around 950 by another 12 months from now. Who knows where the market is, and so that. No, so we've been working on permits for a while. So we've been in one cycle, and then we're going to submit this new design in the next couple weeks. So I would say I will get the permits in 3 to 4 months. And then it'll take me probably another 10 months to 12 months to build, so probably another year and a half. Or to do something like from scratch, right? From SFR ADU DADU, it'll take you probably a year to get the permits, and then another year to build. So it's if you're gonna buy something, hopefully you can rent it out and not such a tear down that it's not rentable. So it's gonna be a lot of holding costs, but then again, some of the best deals are uninhabitable. So there's another code that I can't remember it, but it's if the existing basement has been in existence since December of something. I'll have to take a look at it, what it is. Huh? Yeah. If you guys are ever bored at night, read some of Seattle's zoning code. I mean, you guys are gonna find loopholes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, luckily the reviewer told us what one of these exceptions that we can use. So it's a big deal. So.
Can I throw one more technical question, Jimmy? I noticed the first couple of deals you were showing were lot splits. You got 2 single families, 2 DADUs.
Yeah.
Mostly smaller than 12,000 square feet, right? Were you, what code were you using to get those splits done? Were you doing like 75-80 rule, or was it?
Yeah, the 10,000 one is straight, SF5000. But the 8,000 one, we got it because it was 75-80 rule. And if you guys are not familiar with that, it's basically you would have to do a formula based on the whole street frontage of that whole block. You have to do a calculation that it's 75% of the zoning. So if it's 5,000, it has to be 75% of that, and then 80% of the average size of all the lots along the frontage of that street. from one block, like that block.
And you just submit that map to the city when you're
Yeah,
applying?
they'll make you do that, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's what I like, is really, I love double lots, so you guys didn't run into those that you guys can't take down, you let me know. Other than that, I mean, you know, why did you guys would want to work with builders or people like me if you guys can't take it down yourself? It's, you know, we can pretty much make the decision pretty quickly because we know what we want and know what we're looking for. But we're also open to JVing if that is something you guys want to do to learn the process and learn the construction, permitting process. It's just as easy as, you know, going buying a house and hiring a builder, but it's if you really want to learn from A to Z of like, oh gosh, you know, picking designs and all the excavation work of what it takes to put in drainage these days. Seattle doesn't really want you to have any water coming out of your property line to the storm. It's the things that they make you put in is pretty horrendous and expensive. But let's see, and that's it. And if you guys want to stay connected, you know.